With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama, the non-tar franchise.
We've been sitting here for, what, a decade debating MJ versus LeBron? The ceiling of Victor Wembanyama is that he could render that completely mute.
This kid right here is going to take over the NBA. The league is in trouble with what we're seeing.
Something has shifted inside the NBA, and everyone can feel it. This isn't the usual hype cycle that gets thrown at every promising young player who comes through the league. This feels fundamentally different. The way legends, former MVPs, analysts, and even active players are talking about Victor Wembanyama has reached a level that is genuinely difficult to put into words.
And, like Bambi, fragile legs, you know what I'm saying? It was a bunch of fog. He had, dipped his head through the fog. Bro, I saw it.
You saw it?
I saw the alien. I saw it.
He looking like a cross between Giannis and KD. Did you see that one move where he went up over the whole team and dunked it? And who was that? Was that Mark Bryant? Thomas Bryant?
Was looking.
And he looked up like...
That's the look. That's the look.
Driving down the lane, the ball finds Wembanyama. He hammers it home with authority, and just like that, he's putting on a complete showcase. Monday wasn't a fluke. He's making sure everybody knows it.
On the court, I know guys are going to try and kill me. So my mindset now is I got to kill them before they kill me. It's life or death.
I like to be the hunter, being down, not accepting the situation.
People are seriously talking about the NBA as if it already belongs to him. Not years from now, not eventually, right now. And after this playoff run, the wild part is that it doesn't even sound like an exaggeration anymore. When a player is converting 44% of his pull-up threes after the All-Star break, you genuinely run out of answers for how to guard him. And the statistical reality backing that up is staggering. Wembanyama is the only player in NBA history to record 175 assists, 175 blocks, and 75 made threes in a single season. No one else has ever done that. Ever. And keep in mind, this is a 22-year-old. What he's doing out there shouldn't look this effortless at his age. It's as if the NBA accidentally produced a player the sport wasn't architecturally designed to contain. 41 points and 23 rebounds while commanding both ends of the floor in his very first Western Conference Finals appearance? Those are the kinds of performances associated with all-time greats at the peak of their powers after years of playoff experience hardening them. Wembanyama is doing it in year 2. Everyone kept throwing around the unicorn label, but that word has been overused for years now. Wembanyama is something else entirely. The more accurate description, an alien. He walked into Oklahoma City and carried himself like the stage had always been his. And that's exactly what has everyone at a loss right now. It's not just the numbers, it's the complete control he exercises over every possession on both ends. People around the league are openly admitting they've never seen offense and defense combined at this level before. One possession, he's swatting shots at the rim with the instincts of a prime Hakeem Olajuwon. The next possession, he's pushing the ball up the floor like a guard, crossing defenders over and pulling up for a step-back three from beyond the arc at 7 feet 2 inches tall like it's a routine play. That's why the comparisons keep escalating every single week. At first, people were measuring him against current stars. Now the conversations have moved somewhere else entirely, into historical territory where very few players ever get discussed. And through it all, Wembanyama stays locked in. In his own words, "When I need motivation, when I feel tired, when the game gets hard, I always remind myself that I'm free out there. I can do whatever I'm capable of. I know what I want, and nothing is going to stop me from getting there. I always carry that with me." And this goes beyond basketball. Wembanyama himself has said it extends into life itself, the mindset, the freedom, the belief. So now you're hearing names being dropped in the same breath as his: Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, Kareem, Duncan, LeBron, Bird, Magic. And the most remarkable part? Former NBA players, people who have watched this game for over 4 decades and are notoriously stingy with their praise, are openly saying that this playoff run already deserves to be mentioned alongside some of those legendary performances. That is extraordinary coming from that particular group of people. And you can tell this isn't manufactured hype, because some of these same analysts and former players genuinely sound at a loss trying to articulate what they're watching. There are stretches during games where Wembanyama makes other superstars look physically undersized on the floor next to him. Nobody thought that was even possible in the modern NBA. When elite players match up against each other at this level, the physical differences are usually marginal. One guy might be a step quicker, another might be slightly stronger. But with Wembanyama, the gap looks categorically unfair. The wingspan, the mobility, the ball handling, the recovery speed, the shot creation, none of those attributes should realistically coexist in a single player, and yet here we are. He's dropping pull-up threes from the elbow. He's finishing through contact in traffic. He put up 38 points and 10 rebounds in a single playoff game, and it still felt like he was leaving something on the table. And what's making this even more alarming for the rest of the league is that the old strategy of physically bullying him is completely retired. Early in his career, the thinking was that tough physical defense would wear him down, push him off his spots, rough him up, make the game uncomfortable enough to neutralize him. That plan is finished. Wembanyama now absorbs contact like it registers as nothing. Bigger defenders hit him and he keeps right on attacking. No panic, no frustration, no retreat. Just relentless forward pressure and dominance straight through contact.
That's the moment a lot of people around the NBA quietly began arriving at the same conclusion. This might genuinely become his league for the next decade. And that feeling perfectly explains the atmosphere around basketball right now. Because this no longer feels like a hot streak or a promising stretch. It feels like a permanent shift, like the entire league is reorganizing itself in real time around one player. Even the GOAT conversations are beginning to surface, which almost never happens this early. And Wembanyama's own words reflect exactly why, because through all of it, his confidence has never wavered. I was never in a bad place mentally. I trust my teammates completely. I trust the process. My confidence was never shaken, not at any point. Not because anyone is claiming he's already reached that all-time level. That's not the argument. The argument is simpler and somehow more striking. NBA voices almost never speak this boldly about a player this young, unless they believe they're genuinely witnessing something historic. And right now, that's exactly what people are saying. Respected basketball voices are openly putting Wembanyama in conversations about the greatest player who ever lived, not as a future possibility to revisit in 10 years, but as a real trajectory based on what they're watching right now. That is an enormous statement to make this early in somebody's career. But the fact that so many credible, respected basketball minds are already comfortable saying it tells you exactly how unprecedented this rise has been. Because NBA legends don't casually invoke Jordan and LeBron after 2 good seasons. Young stars typically have to grind for years, accumulate playoff experience, and prove themselves repeatedly before veterans even entertain those names. But with Wembanyama, those comparisons keep resurfacing on their own, like people simply cannot help themselves. And there's another massive dimension to this story that doesn't get talked about enough: what Wembanyama represents for international basketball. For years, the NBA has been gradually moving away from American-only dominance. Jokic took over the MVP conversation. Giannis became a force nobody could consistently contain. Luka evolved into a genuine global icon. And now Wembanyama looks like the next elevation of all of that. Every element of that international wave taken to another level and concentrated into a single player. When asked to describe his performance in one word, his answer was simply champion. That's why so many people are already discussing him as the future face of the entire sport. And some of the reactions from former players have been genuinely entertaining because they look visibly lost trying to put what they're watching into words. At one point, analysts were literally measuring his wingspan live on television just to give viewers a visual sense of how extraordinary his physical proportions actually are. That's how far outside the normal frame of reference this whole thing sits. And the same question keeps coming back around. How do you even score on someone like this? He barely has to raise his arms, and suddenly half the court feels completely closed off. But what truly separates Wembanyama from every other oversized player the sport has ever tried to compare him to isn't the size, it's the skill. Basketball has seen tall players before. The game has seen physically dominant big men before. But it has never, not once, seen someone this large move like this. Crossovers, step-backs, pull-up threes, coast-to-coast drives, elite passing vision, and defensive recovery speed that defies every physical law that should apply to someone standing 7 feet 5 inches. It genuinely looks like someone took an elite superstar guard and an all-time great center and merged them into a single human being. That's exactly why the alien comparison keeps coming back around, because honestly, nothing else really fits. And perhaps the most unsettling part of this entire conversation is what people around the league keep coming back to, almost reluctantly. He is still getting better. He is not leveling off. He is not hitting a ceiling. Every few months, he somehow looks even more dangerous than he did the last time you watched him. For the rest of the NBA, that is genuinely alarming news, because if what we're watching right now is only the beginning, the league could be navigating this reality for the next 15 years with no real answer in sight. And after everything this playoff run has shown the basketball world, more and more people are quietly arriving at the same conclusion, that we may be standing at the very start of something the sport has never encountered before, and nobody quite knows what comes next. He barely has to raise his arms, and suddenly half the court feels completely closed off. But what truly separates Wembanyama from every other oversized player the sport has ever tried to compare him to isn't the size, it's the skill. Basketball has seen tall players before. The game has seen physically dominant big men before, but it has never, not once, seen someone this large move like this. Crossovers, step-backs, pull-up threes, coast-to-coast drives, elite passing vision, and defensive recovery speed that defies every physical law that should apply to someone standing 7 feet 5 inches. It genuinely looks like someone took an elite superstar guard and an all-time great center and merged them into a single human being. That's exactly why the alien comparison keeps coming back around, because honestly, nothing else really fits. And perhaps the most unsettling part of this entire conversation is what people around the league keep coming back to, almost reluctantly. He is still getting better. He is not leveling off. He is not hitting a ceiling. Every few months, he somehow looks even more dangerous than he did the last time you watched him. For the rest of the NBA, that is genuinely alarming news, because if what we're watching right now is only the beginning, the league could be navigating this reality for the next 15 years with no real answer in sight. And after everything this playoff run has shown the basketball world, more and more people are quietly arriving at the same conclusion, that we may be standing at the very start of something the sport has never encountered before, and nobody quite knows what comes next.